from broken to breakthrough, the power of self love and purpose. Have you ever felt like you were wearing a mask so convincing that even you started to believe it? That polished exterior hiding a crumbling foundation within? I know I have. We all have those moments when we look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back at us. 3 years ago, I had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Erica Anderson, founder of Empower Mindsets. Let me tell you, this woman is nothing short of revolutionary. She's transformed the landscape of mental wellness for Black professionals through her fearless vulnerability and commitment to authentic empowerment. Her journey from brokenness to breakthrough didn't just change her life, it sparked a movement that's helping thousands reclaim their authentic power and redefine success on their own terms. What struck me most about Erica wasn't just her remarkable resilience, but how she transformed personal pain into purpose with such grace and intention. Today, I'm sharing the wisdom gleaned from that conversation, wisdom that might just be the lifeline you didn't know you needed. We live in a world obsessed with external validation, don't we? The perfect job, the flawless relationship, the immaculate social media presence with just the right filter. Everyone's highlight reel playing on an endless loop. But what happens when those external markers of success become the only way we measure our worth? We break, sometimes quietly, sometimes spectacularly, and that breaking, it might be the most important thing that ever happens to you. Let me tell you about Odessa Moore Smith. By conventional standards, Odessa had made it. Executive position, corner office, impressive salary. She was the embodiment of Black excellence in corporate America. The woman everyone pointed to and said, see, it can be done. But behind closed doors, anxiety attacks in bathroom stalls between meetings, crying in her car before walking into the office, constantly feeling like an imposter despite mountains of evidence to the contrary. I was dying inside, she told me, her voice barely above a whisper, while everyone kept congratulating me on living the dream. The breaking point came after being overlooked for a promotion, again, despite consistently outperforming her peers. But instead of just another disappointment to swallow, this became her catalyst, her moment of truth. Odessa did something brave. She sought therapy, specifically with a culturally competent therapist who understood the unique challenges faced by Black women in professional spaces. She began the painful work of separating her worth from her achievements. And then she did something remarkable. She built an organization dedicated to supporting the mental health of Black professionals through coaching circles and resource hubs. Her workshops have reached hundreds nationwide, destigmatizing mental health conversations in corporate spaces and inspiring other entrepreneurs to center holistic well being in their leadership models. But here's what's fascinating: Odessa doesn't consider her business success her greatest achievement. My greatest achievement, she says, with a certainty that gives me chills, was learning to love myself first. Everything else flowed from that. This is the first truth Erica Anderson emphasized in our conversation. True transformation begins with self love and honest self reflection. Your journey to healing starts within. By recognizing your worth isn't defined by achievements, relationships, or others' opinions. But let's be honest, self love sounds great on Instagram captions, doesn't it? Much harder to practice when you're facing rejection, disappointment, or feeling utterly lost. When the world seems determined to remind you of all the ways you don't measure up. This brings me to the Pink Parachute Diaries community, a podcast featuring stories from Black women who faced layoffs yet chose resilience over resignation. These women experienced the particular sting of being undervalued in workplaces while watching less qualified colleagues advance. Many wrestled with profound self doubt after receiving those pink slips. What changed their trajectories? Finding each other. Through storytelling circles, these women created spaces of radical solidarity, sharing strategies for rebuilding confidence and rewriting their narratives after setbacks. Many reported increased clarity about their identity outside traditional job roles. Several launched ventures aligned with their passions. The founder started this movement after realizing there was little support tailored specifically to ambitious Black women navigating career transitions alone. Today, their episodes have sparked nationwide conversations about redefining professional worth beyond external validation, with listeners connecting via online forums offering mentorship opportunities. Their collective story echoes the second truth from Erica's wisdom. Faith can be a powerful catalyst for change, not necessarily religious faith, though that's certainly one valid expression, but faith in something beyond your current circumstances. Faith that your pain has purpose. Faith that rejection is often redirection. One participant described it perfectly. When I stopped asking, why me, and started asking, what for, everything shifted. This surrender, this willingness to seek meaning in difficulty creates space for transformation. It allows us to discover purpose in our pain and direction in moments of uncertainty. But here's where many of us get stuck. We do the internal work. We find faith in something larger than ourselves, and then we keep it to ourselves. We heal privately, but never share our stories. We transform, but don't transmit that transformation to others who might desperately need it. This brings me to the third powerful truth from Erica Anderson's journey. Your story matters, and sharing it creates space for community healing and empowerment. Consider the double liberation movement, which spotlighted several Black entrepreneurs who described empowerment as both an internal mindset shift and outward advocacy effort. These leaders shared their struggles, overcoming generational trauma while facing systemic barriers in business environments. Their approach was comprehensive, investing in mindset coaching, including faith based approaches, setting healthy boundaries, building peer support networks, and using these tools to fuel broader advocacy within their industries. The results were transformative. These leaders reported breakthroughs like increased confidence speaking up against inequity at work. Some created new organizations supporting underrepresented founders. Several became keynote speakers on topics like identity reclamation. One founded a nonprofit teaching young adults emotional intelligence skills rooted in cultural heritage. Many began feeling isolated until they found communities where open dialogue about faith and healing was welcomed alongside entrepreneurship talk. Their stories are now sparking ripple effects across industries, normalizing discussions around mental health and faith among high achieving professionals. This is the power of sharing your journey. When you speak your truth, you create permission for others to do the same. Your vulnerability becomes someone else's lifeline. As Erica Anderson emphasized, healing kept private helps one person. Healing shared can transform communities. I want to pause here and acknowledge something important. This work isn't easy. Confronting your pain requires courage. Examining limiting beliefs demands honesty. Sharing your story involves vulnerability. And in a world that often tells marginalized communities, particularly Black women, to just be strong and push through, claiming space for your healing is revolutionary. So, where do you begin? First, with radical self honesty. Ask yourself, Where am I seeking external validation rather than nurturing internal worth? What masks am I wearing that no longer serve me? What stories am I telling myself about my value that simply aren't true? Second, invite faith into your journey. This might mean traditional spiritual practices or simply believing that your challenges have meaning beyond your current understanding. Look for purpose in your pain. Consider that rejection might be protection or redirection towards something better aligned with your authentic self. Third, find your community. Healing happens in connection, not isolation. Seek spaces where you can share your story without judgment and hear others' journeys. Whether through formal support groups, trusted friends, or platforms like those created by the women we've discussed today, find your people. And finally, when you're ready, share. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to begin their own healing journey. I'm reminded of something powerful Erica Anderson said during our conversation. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more whole people, people who have embraced their brokenness and found beauty there. This is the invitation before us all, not to achieve some impossible standard of flawlessness, but to embrace our full humanity, our struggles and triumphs, our wounds and wisdom. When Odessa Moore Smith speaks to audiences now, she doesn't hide her anxiety or past struggles. She leads with them. My brokenness, she says, became my breakthrough. When the women of Pink Parachute Diaries gather, they don't minimize their experiences of rejection. They transform them into fuel for reinvention. When the entrepreneurs in the double liberation movement advocate for change, they do so not despite their challenges, but because of what those challenges have taught them. So today, I challenge you to do something revolutionary. Remove the mask. Look in the mirror and acknowledge both your wounds and your wonder. Recognize that your worth was never tied to your productivity, your title, or others' opinions of you. Then take one brave step toward authentic living. Maybe it's finally seeking the support you've been denying yourself. Perhaps it's having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Or maybe it's simply allowing yourself to rest without guilt. Whatever it is, do it knowing this. Your breaking isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of a more authentic one. Your pain isn't meaningless, it's preparing you for purpose. And your vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the source of your greatest strength and deepest connections. The world doesn't need your perfection. It needs your truth. It needs your voice. It needs your story. Because somewhere, someone is waiting to hear exactly what you've lived through, and it will give them the courage to begin their own journey from broken to breakthrough. The question isn't whether you're broken. We all are in our own ways. The question is, what will you do with those broken pieces? Will you hide them or will you use them to create something beautiful, something meaningful, something that helps others find their way through the darkness? The choice is yours, and I believe in what you'll choose. Thank you.